Well, greetings and salutations, one and all, to the only Super Review Show's Mixed Bag, coming to you live once again from many esteemed established caves. As always, I am joined by the panel of panelists here at the Super Review Show. Bill, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing good, my good man. How are you?
Doing well. Justin, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing pretty good.
Glad to hear it. And our Allie's back once again to help us for a little bit tonight. Allie, how are you?
Yeah, I know. What happened to calling us the critics?
Well, we're getting close, though. Let's put it that way. And we're joined by our esteemed panelist and friend, of course, Vinny. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, everybody.
All right. So,
Allie, you look cold tonight.
It's cold here.
It's colder up here.
It's a cold front across the United States.
The once in every 8 years winter storm has decided to come this year.
Well, hopefully wherever you're listening to us or watching us, hopefully you are warm as can be. It's been very cold out these past few days, weeks in January.
Here in the United States of Westeros, winter has come.
Yes, it has.
All right, that's it. I am protesting winter.
And yeah, let's protest winter. And speaking of protest, Bill, what is our topic for tonight?
Okay, folks, we are taking a ride to Controversy Town. We like to stay away from there, but we got to do it today.
Oh, go back. Good night. God bless.
Okay.
Don't sue us, whatever you do. Do not arrest us for any reason.
But anyway,
we're not liable.
We generally don't like to talk politics here. We are not a political podcast. We talk about entertainment, but we talk about stuff in context. So, knowing what just happened 2 days ago.
Yes.
For those of you who live outside the United States, Donald Trump was inaugurated and sworn in as the 47th president. Some people have very strong feelings about this. And in ways, people will express it through our beloved First Amendment right, the right to protest. And so we decided we were going to do this last week, but after the wildfires, we did the benefit concerts instead, and we just didn't think this was the right thing to do, so we pushed it back a week.
Correct.
Because we didn't think the optics would look good. We're trying to get people to come together, and yet we're talking about music about people getting angry. And so today we are talking about protest music. And I just want to give a little disclaimer here.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst we are talking about a political subject, we ourselves will not get political, if that makes sense. We will talk about the context of the songs we're talking about.
Yes.
But we're not going to say, okay, someone help me out here.
I'll help you out. We're not going to say, oh, I believe that this should happen or this should happen. No, we're not sharing our opinions. We are just stating what the music at the time was trying to portray and tell.
We can't state that we like the song or not. We can do that.
Oh, yeah. We can, of course, that's a given. Like, we're not going to discuss anything on the way to that. But yeah, but to answer your question there, my friend, we're not going to say A or B. We're not going to say, that we believe that. We're going to just state the context of the songs or the artists that we believe portrayed a certain reasoning, but we're not going to share our personal viewpoint. Bill has his viewpoint. Vinny has. We all have our viewpoints here about what we believe is right or wrong, and we're not going to tell you what they are because we're not a political podcast. Bill just said.
And you know what? I'm just going to say this.
Yeah,
it's okay to have opinions. As the old saying goes, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them, and they all stink.
Correct.
Yeah.
As Bill once said.
But yeah, that's going to be on a plaque somewhere. Justin, get the plaque ready.
Get the T-shirts ready. There we go.
Everything I say should be on a plaque.
But anyway, we're going to start in probably which if you look back in American history, at least, because most of the music came out of America to begin name it. Let's start in the 60s, shall we? What do we got for what? Where do we want to start with? What artist? What song? How do we want to do this?
Okay. If we're going in the 60s, I think you know who we got to start with.
Yes, exactly.
I think I know.
Everybody knows.
He just had a movie out?
Yes, he did.
How does it feel?
And to be on your
like
own.
A complete unknown. Not a promotion.
No. This. Go ahead. But this movie was great. But go on.
We are going to be starting to talk about Robert Zimmerman, as you all know him as Bob Dylan.
Correct.
Dylan's music. What can we say about Dylan's music?
Say what you will about his vocals, but his messages were stronger than anything he could ever put to fruition.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
It absolutely was.
Yes.
But
a pioneer. He's still to this day a pioneer.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
And I think the one that really started it was a song known as "The Times They Are A-Changin'."
Yep.
You're forgetting Blowing in the Wind and Masters of War, Bill.
Oh, wait, that came before that?
Yeah, Freewheelin' Bob Dylan was the second album of Bob Dylan's, and yeah, before that.
Oh, okay.
This is why we have Vinny here, because he's our Bob Dylan expert. But go on.
I'm an expert on a lot of music, everybody.
But Blowing in the Wind.
Yeah.
I think the writing to this is just, wow. How many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? How many... I don't really get the protest message behind this. Can someone who's smarter than me help me out here?
Yes, I can.
Take it away.
If you listen to all the lyrics, it's more about war than anything. So, how many times must the cannonballs fly before they are forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. So, nobody knows the answer of what's going to happen. It's blowing in the wind, as I said. And of course, how many deaths so takes to know too many people have died from the third verse? Also a great lyric. There's a lot of, and of course, not just Blowing in the Wind, Masters of War, another great Bob Dylan song.
That's actually my favorite Bob Dylan song, by the way.
I love a good cover of Masters of War, and I love a good cover of it. Man,
I love this. May I say something about this song?
Yes, go right ahead.
Do you know what the message of that is? And I think the song is even. You know what? And we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, the message of this song is those who make money off war, defense contractors, they make money while the masses go off to die.
Actually, the masses. So the people make. But it's also a song where Bob Dylan usually doesn't get as angry as he does in this song, especially that last verse. But Bob Dylan he feels bad for the soldiers that go off and fight for these corporate masters, as who wouldn't? But yeah, it's a great song.
Because, here's a little bit of the verses. I love this part. The come you masters of war. You build the big guns. You build the death planes. You build all the bombs. You hide behind walls. You hide behind desks. I just want you to know I can see through your mask. And the line, you play with my world like it's your little toy. And I'm looking for how much do I know? If you talk out of turn, you might say that I'm young. You might say that I'm unlearned. But there's one thing I know, that I'm younger than you, that not even Jesus forgive what you do.
Yes.
And let me ask, this is the one that really hits everything. Let me ask you one question. Is your money that good? Will it buy you forgiveness? Do you think that it could? I think you will find when your death takes its toll, all the money you made will never buy back your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the last verse that Vinny said, I'm going to read it. And I hope that you die and your death will come soon. I will follow your casket by the pale afternoon, and I'll watch while you're lowered down to your deathbed, and I'll stand over your grave to make sure that you're dead. And you know what it is? Because folk music at this point was known as this happy, dippy,
yes.
When you had Pete Seeger, who was also a great pioneer of folk music.
Yeah.
But you had the, we shall overcome, which was
Earth-shatteringly amazing.
earth-shatteringly amazing. It was a song that was during the civil rights movement.
Yes.
And the other songs. But this
Like, of course, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? There's a lot of different ones.
But this was basically...
It was declaration.
What was that?
It was a declaration of war against the war makers, as said by Mr. Bob Dylan himself.
Bob Dylan basically called out, and you know what? We're going to be talking a lot about this throughout this show tonight. It is terrifying that a lot of these songs are still relevant today.
I think they will be for a while, but that's just me.
Basically every protest song from the 60s is going to be even more relevant in a lot of cases.
Because there is a scene in Complete Unknown when Bob Dylan goes on a date with his then girlfriend, and he's releasing his first album, but it's all covers, and she goes, "Well, what about the songs you wrote?"
Right. Yep.
And she goes, "Listen, people are going around about folk music. It's not the Dust Bowl anymore. Singing songs about the Dust Bowl, it doesn't exist. There are problems. There's nuclear war, injustice." And you know what? I think they kind of have a point, because those songs about finding a mule for the carriage during the Dust Bowl are not really relevant anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you hear songs like, again, this song, Masters of War, this song is still relevant to today when you see everything that's going on in the world. And listen, I'm not talking about one specific party. Everyone could be guilty of this.
Yes.
Correct.
Because Bob Dylan doesn't say you Republicans, you Democrats. He says
people.
He
Yes.
says humanity. Make money off other people dying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, Allie, Justin, JT, you guys something to say about that?
I mean, I'm gonna let Allie go first. Go ahead. What do you got?
I yield. I really don't have much to say. But what you guys have discussed, really, I mean, Bob Dylan's music does relate to what's been going on now in life.
Yeah.
Justin,
what do you got?
I mean, yeah, when it comes to Bob Dylan, he's an insane pioneer of an entire generation of folks who really wanted to see a great change, be it the civil rights movement or the Vietnam War.
Yes.
And even into the 70s, he was involved in causes such as I don't know how many of you remember his song Hurricane, which was about the whole Reuben Carter trial.
Great song.
Here comes the story of Hurricane.
Powerful.
We won't fight till we free. We will not stop fight till we free his name. But
just a warning to those who are a bit sensitive. It does have the use of the N-word.
Yes.
Yes, it does. It's very, very blatantly obvious in the middle of the song, and it does use that word.
Yeah.
So don't flag us, YouTube. Just saying.
But
go on.
But no, like Bob Dylan, as you know, I don't like his voice, but I think his writing is brilliant.
Yeah.
My second favorite Bob Dylan song, I told you my first one is Masters of War. My second one is Times They Are A-Changing.
Let's get to that. The Times They Are Changing. 1 second. Here we go. Great song. What do you got?
Because I think this is the song, the official anthem of the 60s, once you think about it.
Yes.
Because the 60s was a time of change.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. And I just want to your point for a split second there, my friend, I want to just say that if you look back at the year 1960 and look how style was, how culture was, without getting super like technical with it, just generically, if you look back and think, 1960, and then you look at 1969 to 1970, a drastic cultural change. If you have no idea what we're talking about,
you can't even fathom how much of a change it was. Really, a lot of people couldn't.
the world was evolving.
Because here's what I think. 1960 to 1964, 1965 was like the 50s 2.0.
Yes.
In a nutshell, yes.
It was basically like the other half of the 50s. It was, an era of innocence, of
like Motown was big, or like you can go to the movies and see, Cleopatra, or I mean, we talked about that too. But yeah, you're right. Go on. Sorry.
You know when I think the day that the real 60s began? November 22nd, 1963.
Yes, I agree.
Really? How so?
Vinny?
So when it comes to JFK's assassination, also sang about a song "Murder Most Foul" by Bob Dylan, Rough and Rowdy Ways. So that truly was a catalyst for people for protest. A lot of people didn't like Lyndon Johnson. They weren't a fan of his. Not only that, there was a lot of people who did not like the Vietnam War, and he was very much involved in getting us into it, as well as Nixon, of course. But that's a later thing to happen.
Yeah, but there was involvement in Vietnam, granting back to like the Truman administration.
Yes, I think it really expanded after JFK. He wanted to get us out of there, but it didn't work.
JFK sent military advisors to Vietnam, but then after he was assassinated and LBJ became president, LBJ said, "Okay, let's go in." And then,
an idea.
I think that's when, while Bob Dylan's protest music did start in like the early 60s, I think also my favorite line from the song, "Come mothers and fathers throughout the land.
Mm-hmm.
Don't criticize what you can't understand.
Yes.
Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old world is rapidly fading. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend a hand. For the times, they are changing." And like, we weren't at the free love point of the 60s yet at that point.
Peace and love. Not yet.
But this was when you look at the civil rights movement, when you look at the, and then the anti-war movement. I'm sorry, I can talk about this stuff like forever. So
yes,
you're good. Justin, you've been quiet. I mean, I don't mean to cut you guys off, but Justin, you've been a little quiet. You got any other comments for Bob Dylan before we move on to something else? Justin. Hey, bud.
Sorry, I just realized that I was muted.
You're good. Go ahead.
Nothing really to add. I apologize. I'm really tired today.
It's okay, bud. If you gotta go, you gotta go. No stress.
I'll try to hang in there.
Okay.
In the words of my dear friend, Father Kevin, hang in there, Justin. Hang in there.
Allie, anything else for Bob Dylan before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So should we stick with the 60s for a second? I'm sure should we go like song by song or no?
Song by song, there's a lot of songs there.
Yeah, we'll be here. We will literally be here forever.
Okay.
I mean, the 60s, you have Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest protest event ever.
Right. So I think
best advice I can give, later 60s, there's a lot of protest music from there. Right before Woodstock, and yeah.
What if we touch on...
there's another folk music artist I'd like to talk about.
Who?
Pete Seeger.
Oh.
Because Pete Seeger was actually, again, an early influence on Bob Dylan. The two were very good friends. And
until he went electric.
Yeah, but they reconciled later. Pete Seeger was, because a lot of his protest music was American folk music from like the civil rights era. During the civil rights, like he really popularized the song "We Shall Overcome," which was a big anthem during the civil rights movement. And "We Shall Not Be Moved," another big anthem in the civil rights movement. And then like he did do. Was he the one who? Was he the one? Vinny, my man, you got to help me out here.
Yes.
Was he the one who popularized "Where Did All the Flowers Gone"?
That was actually Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Oh yeah. By the way, rest in peace, Peter Yara, Paul.
Yes, that was sad.
Rest in peace, Peter Yara, who passed away a couple weeks ago. So rest in peace.
Yes. Right.
But Pete Seeger, he actually did have a Vietnam War song, which I think is underrated. It's called "Bring 'Em Home." And I gotta tell you a funny story how I got about that song. When Pete Seeger died in 2014, I was taking a music appreciation class, and my professor said, "Hey, as a tribute to Pete Seeger, I'm going to give you an extra credit assignment. If any of you can find a song by him, play it in front of the class, and then give a presentation on it, and just give like a brief synopsis of it." And the song "Bring 'Em Home." And you know what's so interesting about this song? It's an anti-war song, but there's a part of the, because in the beginning of the song is, "If you love your Uncle Sam, bring him home, bring him home." And there's a line where he says, "I'm not truly a pacifist. If a country invaded this land of mine, I would be on the front line." I think what's so interesting is, as he's saying that this war is unnecessary, but he's not saying that all wars are unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like World War II was justified because we were attacked at Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until a certain point, Afghanistan was justified because we were attacked on 9/11. Till a certain point, then it was totally unjustified. But that's a conversation not for this podcast.
Yeah.
But I think I just wanted to talk about that song because it's interesting, because again, he's like saying, yeah, this war is stupid, but I can understand why certain wars exist. Because Pete Seeger also fought in World War II. So
I didn't know that. I never listened to him much, of all things.
And he also popularized his friend Woody Guthrie.
Yeah.
And also, according to especially the song that we were all taught in elementary school.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
But guess what? There's words that they don't want you to know.
Uh-oh.
Justin, is it time I reveal the truth? Should the people know the truth?
Hopefully we don't get hacked, and that'll be the end of the Super Review Show.
We will know. Hold on, I gotta pull up the truth.
1,300 subscribers down the drain. Literally. There you go. All right.
Okay.
I pulled it up for you all. It's on the screen. I don't know if you can see it, but hold on.
Okay, hold on. Let me. All right. Okay. This land is your land. This land is my land, from California to the New York Island for the Red. Okay, we all know that part. Okay. Where is that? It says something.
They don't want us to know.
They don't want us to know. It's something about private property.
Didn't they say something on no trespassing?
Sorry, I know this is really big.
The truth will be revealed.
As I went walking, I saw a sign there, and the sign said no trespassing. But on the other side, it did not say nothing. That side was made for you and me. That line? Or the next one down?
So. I don't know.
I don't know. It's all right.
The government doesn't want us to know. No, wait, I found it. I found it.
Okay, what do you got? Did you pull it up?
I think I found it, folks. I think I found it.
Take your time. In the meantime, this is the Super Review Show has been brought to you by Panera Bread.
No,
We're not sponsored. Don't worry. I'm just kidding.
The
Go
review
ahead.
show is sponsored by the Chum Bucket.
Get your
Try
chum.
the new Chumbalaya.
Okay, folks, I got some bad news.
Can I
What?
find it?
I can't find them.
All right, no worries.
And you know why I can't find them, Justin? Why can't I find them?
Because they don't want you to find them.
Because the government doesn't want me to find them.
Oh, you know what? We tried. It's okay.
Hey,
Don't worry about it.
No, there is a part of the song that is critical about private property and all that.
Yeah.
But no, if you actually want to see the full version, in 2009, at a concert before Obama was inaugurated, there is a version with Pete Seeger, his grandson, and Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce.
Yes.
Yeah, there you will know the truth.
Yep.
If you go on YouTube, look at that version. That's what it is.
Yeah.
True
Okay,
story.
so what others? Since we're in like the 60s and the Vietnam era.
I can shift us to the 70s while still talking about Vietnam.
I still know I know a decent amount I can actually put in
But
60s.
Well, there is some
Okay.
songs I think we should discuss.
Yes, like you ever heard the song "Volunteers" by Jefferson Airplane?
Or is that 60s or 70s?
69.
Nice.
Okay.
I knew.
I was thinking about it was in 67, but okay.
Hey, Bill,
What song?
What?
I found the lyric.
Okay.
Oh no, here we go.
There was a big high wall there that tried to stop me. Sign was painted. It said private property. But on the backside, it didn't say nothing. This land was made for you and me.
The truth has been revealed.
Oh my God.
Nice knowing you. Good night, Goblin.
Got on your head.
All right, we're officially screwed over here. Anyways, I'm just kidding.
No.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Justin.
Thank you, Justin. But
Anyways,
what was the Jefferson Airplane song?
Volunteers. A great song protesting I can't remember the exact name of the organization. This is their most political album. As shown by, let me pull it out. This Volunteers.
as Vinny fills out the CD.
Yep. I own a lot of music, people.
Yes, Vinny's
So,
our music.
There's
guy.
there's actually a lot of really good political statements they've made. It's, of course, wooden ships about a nuclear war and everything on this album. Also done by Crosby, Stills and Nash, but also co-written by Paul Kantner of Jefferson Airplane. So they did a version because they technically can. But then not only is Jefferson Airplane a very good point, it's a perfect album to listen to if you're in a revolutionary mood. Of course, look what's happening out on the street. Got a revolution, Hey, it ain't amazing all the people on me. Got a revolution, Volunteers of America, Volunteers of America. Great song I might have. Marty Palin did a great job. But still, my favorite political protest song in the late 60s. Drum roll, please. Steppenwolf's Monster.
Oh, we were just talking about this before we went live.
Yes, I had to bring it up.
Was it Steppenwolf's Monster? You said?
It's just called Monster. The song, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I
song
never heard this
Monster
before.
by Steppenwolf. While I'm here, this is like I must warn you. For those who don't have great attention spans, the song's almost 10 minutes long.
Yeah. Sorry.
But let me pull up the lyrics. I actually have it in my trusty Steppenwolf box set. Thank you, Cherry Red Records. Straight from the UK. So, song Monster by Steppenwolf. It starts off in the beginnings of America. Once the religious, the hunted and weary, chasing the promise of freedom and hope, came into this country to build a new vision. Far from the reaches of kingdom and hope. Next lyric. Like good Christians, some would burn the witches. Later, some bought slaves to gather riches. And then it just goes from there. And then, of course, my favorite part is the last part of it. The spirit was freedom and justice. Its keepers seemed generous and kind. Its leaders were supposed to serve the country. Now they don't pay it no mind. So the people got fat and grew lazy. Now their vote is a meaningless joke. They babble about law and about order, but it's all just an echo of what they've been told. There's a monster on the loose. Puts her head to the noose, and just as they're watching. And of course, another line of police forces watching the people. Great line. And of course, the final part of the song, America, where are you now? Don't you care about your sons and daughters? Oh, you know, we need you now. We can't fight alone against the monster. So, technically speaking, a lot of people think it's just them cashing in on the whole anti-Vietnam thing.
Mm-hmm.
Shockingly accurate still today, that song is. Am I right?
Yes.
Lord, can I get a witness?
I got a
Witness.
Excellent. Witnesses are gone.
All right.
So let's move on to the 70s, people.
Justin, do you have anything for the 60s?
For the 60s, I was gonna go Fortunate Son.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, great choice.
Justin, guess what that means? We swiped right.
It's been a while since you two have gone that anyways.
Ugh.
Just kidding.
Sorry,
Just kidding. What do you
Catherine,
got?
if you're watching.
Yeah, sorry, Catherine.
So if anyone knows the background of the song, it's really about how the privileged were able to get out of the draft essentially
Yes.
scot-free. Worst they got was a slap on the wrist, whereas the common man, they didn't have that privilege. When Uncle Sam came knocking, they either went to Canada or went to war. Because they were no senator's son. They were no fortunate son. It was a harsh time during the Vietnam War when any able-bodied Americans could have had their number drawn at any time.
Yeah.
And it's insane how the rich were just able to buy their way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the line, some folks are born silver spoon in hand. Don't they ever help themselves, y'all? But when the tax man comes to the door, the yard looking like a rubbish sale, it ain't me, I ain't no millionaire son.
Yeah.
Basically, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're going
Yep.
to war.
This
You
song
might
came out.
not come back.
Yeah, sorry about that. This song came out in 1969, and it's ironic because you know it's funny. This song has over 1 billion with a B streams on Spotify. Did you guys know that?
I did not.
And I think a lot of people Bill and I did misinterpret the song lyrics like literally in 2022, I think, I forget.
22 or 23, I can't remember.
Or 23, one of the two. Several years back now. But yeah, that's just like, I'm surprised we didn't touch on this because it has. Let me just. I'm not pulling it up on screen. Let me just find it real quick. But if I'm not mistaken, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I was forgetting. I'm doing this live. I really don't care if you figure it out really quick. I just want to see really quick. Yeah. Oh my god. So it has 1.5 billion streams as of January 22nd, 2025 on Spotify.
Damn.
This song is a protest song from 1969, and the fact that it has over 1 billion streams, Spotify made note of it too on their stories on Instagram. They actually showed like, oh, this song has passed 1 billion streams. I don't think even Spotify knows what this song means. Good job, Justin.
Yeah, and talk about misinterpreted song lyrics, because there's one moron on some social media goes, this song is about how I'm so proud to be an American and fortunate to be born in the U.S. Like, listen to the words, you dumbass.
Yeah, look at the lyrics, you moron.
Like, this is like
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. No, that song's not a rah-rah patriotic song.
It's absolutely not.
It's not. We'll get that.
Talk that one later.
We're talking
God,
about the
yeah.
80s.
drive me crazy when they misinterpreted lyrics.
No,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah,
But,
even love songs. We talked about that too at one point. Forget it.
But anyway, no, Justin, I was actually thinking the same thing.
I'm so glad you both swiped right on this one. I was like, what's that you talking about? Oh, good. Creedence Clearwater Revival's
It
Fortunate
has
Son.
the most recognizable opening. Doo-doo, doo-doo.
The guitar riff sounds like a gunshot going off. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It
Allie,
really
you got
does.
anything?
Think about it. So,
Allie, you got anything?
yes, sorry. Allie is just chilling over there. You got anything at all? Or are you good?
I mean, it's probably one of the most iconic, songs, especially since Vietnam War. I mean, how old is that? Like 55, 50 something years old?
This song came out in
56.
1969. So, yeah. You said what, 52, 62? What did you say?
55, almost 56.
It is 56 because 54 would have been 55.
That's insane.
Or 2024, I mean.
Right.
And-
Yeah.
And you got a song to talk about, Allie, or?
Do you have anything
I
at all?
mean, the only thing how do you guys also forget the Beatles a little bit too? Having some of their
Revolution.
In Revolution, Blackbird, a couple stuff off the White album.
and even some John Lennon, Give Peace a Chance, Imagine.
Well, that's more in
Oh,
the
yeah.
70s. But
That's 70s.
Well, John, we'll talk about Lennon. We'll talk about Give Peace a Chance in a second. But there's two songs I would like to discuss. One, I think it's the song that's most with the Vietnam War, For What It's Worth.
Mm.
by Buffalo Springfield, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Something happened.
Something happening here.
And if you've never
What
heard,
it is ain't exactly clear.
I just want to say
Go ahead, JT, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
before we move any further to things, actually, really one thing. Sorry, if those who listen to us, if you've never heard hearing of these songs, if you've never heard these songs, listen to them if you have a chance.
Yes.
Anyone's we've mentioned previously: Bob Dylan, Jefferson Starship, Steppenwolf, even
Airplane on Starship.
and the ones we mentioned moving forward. There's a reason why they're called world-changing music. But go on. Sorry, I cut you off, Bill.
No, but the song, but you know what? So the war, what they're talking about in the song, they keep it kind of ominous.
Yeah.
Something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I gotta beware. And then everybody stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Yeah.
But you know what? There is a line in the song that I think everybody that I think is relevant to today. How we're so divided. There's battle lines
being drawn.
Nobody's
right when everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their mind.
Getting so much resistance from behind.
Thank you.
So much resistance from behind, saying hooray for our side. Gee, sound like what's going on in today's political climate?
Durr.
It kind of does. Am I right?
Kind of.
Yes,
We're not
you
getting
are right.
political either. We're not getting political either. But he's right though. He's without getting political. Bill is right.
But anyway, yeah, that song, which I actually really do like. And
what's your second before we go into the 70s? I think
I have to tell you something. Whoa! Good God, y'all! What is
Small issue that came out in 1971.
Oh, that was 1971?
Yeah, 1971.
Good segue.
Okay,
Let's talk about
let's
it.
hold on that for a sec because I do want to talk about Give Peace a Chance.
Was it 1970?
Yes, that's 1970. Yes.
No, Give Peace a Chance was 69.
Oh, I think it might have been late 69. I don't know I don't follow much of his solo work.
What? Bill is right.
I did not know that.
It was
Close.
released in 1969, going into 1970.
Under the Plastic Ono band.
Yeah.
Not the Beatles, but after.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because you know what it is when you go towards the end of Lennon with the Beatles and into his solo career.
Yeah.
John Lennon was starting to get more political.
Yes.
He wanted to see the world in his image or what he thought about it.
Like the song Revolution from the White Album.
Yeah.
I think my favorite line in that song, if you're asking for money for people you gotta with minds that hate, all I can tell you is, brother,
you have to wait.
You have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's gonna be.
All right.
But
gonna
and
be
then
all
you
right.
had but then when you had this song, Give Peace a Chance, you know, it's sort of like an optimistic song. It's sort of like an optimistic song, wouldn't you say? And they're saying all we're saying is
Give peace a chance.
give peace a chance.
And that's like the whole. There's no other lyrics. It's just that one thing.
Well, there is like I think this was the precursor to REM's It's the End of the World as We Know It. Because he's just listing random things.
Yeah.
And then the chorus, all we are saying is give peace a chance. And he's not really singing. He's kind of just playing guitar and yelling the stuff once you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a simple message. Hey, folks, let's give peace a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's give peace a chance. I'm all for giving peace a chance. Are you?
Yeah, me too.
All right, you ready to just go to the 70s?
Yes, let's kick it off. What'd you say it was? War by who sings it? I'm sorry.
Edwin Starr.
Yeah.
Okay, Vinny's upstairs, and we don't know where Justin is. So, okay, you know what?
Take it away.
Justin had to leave, so we thank him for his service tonight.
Yes, Justin, and thank you, Justin, for your service. Thank you so much.
We know you're pretty tired today, so we'll talk to you soon.
And Vinny will be right back.
All right, Edwin Starr, War.
What can you say?
JT, what is it good for?
Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
Is War good for anything?
No.
No.
This was a Motown era song, pre Marvin Gaye, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the song is just, you know what it is? Because when you get the first protest, like when we talked about Bob Dylan earlier, but we go from how many roads must a man walk down to war? Huh. Good God, yeah. What is it good
for?
Absolutely.
Say it again, War.
War.
I love this song.
And because you could tell, yeah, he's kind of barking at us.
Yeah.
But you could he is like one of those people. So when he talks, guess what?
You listen.
Shut up and listen.
It's more of an authoritarian, not authoritarian, but it's more like the song has more of a presence to it than just imagine, or you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's not just someone strumming a guitar saying war bad, can't we all just love?
No, he's being it's a song that's very bombastic musically speaking. And I think it's funny. It's funny you brought this up, Bill, because this song kind of reminds me about when I think about it. Like up until this point, like most songs on the radio outside of like rock and roll, like were not very heavy sounding. You might say this one has a big boom to it, like a big feeling, not just a big message, but a big like sound to it. In a way, it's almost like the way like Helter Skelter by the Beatles, like, whoa, that can exist. It was the equivalent of that, like musically speaking, for Edwin Starr's War. And I think he nailed it on the head. And actually, it's funny, I don't know if you guys knew about this. I think Vinny might have known this. Bruce Springsteen covered this in the mid 80s on the Born in the USA tour.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but
Because you want to know something though?
What's that?
This is the because like I said, like Edwin Starr doesn't really give any solutions. Not like
No,
Yeah.
he just says, don't do it. Don't start war. Don't go to war. Don't have
war bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, hey, make love, not war. It's
no war.
No war. War
At all.
Bad.
War is bad. Yeah, exactly. So
And he just screams about,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could tell when he said, "Who wants to die?"
Yeah.
And then he goes, "It's only got one friend, and guess who that is?
The Undertaker.
Friend only to the Undertaker." And he is basically like when we were talking about the Pete Seeger song, "Bring 'Em Home."
Yeah.
I was saying, yeah, I could see war is necessary in some points, but he's saying no, war wrong, war bad, war's good for nothing.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
any so anyway, yeah, Edwin Starr, war. All right, what should we talk about next?
Anyway, I love that. Before we go, I love this song. I have to run. I will talk to everybody soon.
Yes.
All right, goodbye.
Vinny has to run because he's got to run out for a little bit. But thank you, Vinny, for coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, JT.
And I'm
I'll
heading
see
out
ya.
for the night too.
I'll see you guys.
JT, looks like it's just gonna be you and me now.
Time to cover some news, buddy.
Sorry,
Okay.
guys. Bye.
See you, Vinny.
All right, so
All right,
God,
so you and me, buddy.
then there were two.
And then there was two. Let's discuss it, and we'll finish up in like an hour. I don't even know.
Well,
So we'll see.
Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, we would having so far so good. I mean, forgive us to our listeners. As I mentioned before, we do the show live on YouTube Wednesday nights EST. Vinny, Justin, and Allie had to all dip, but now you're just stuck with me and Bill.
Oh my God, isn't that terrible? We're just
I
the
know.
worst.
We are the worst people out there. I'm just kidding. We're not. I
Okay.
guess. No, but
You
you're
know
with
what?
us for the next couple of hours.
Okay. You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah, see.
Okay, because we just talked about Give Peace a Chance.
Yes, and we want to talk about Imagine.
We got to talk about Imagine.
Imagine by John Lennon. No, not Dragons. They're great. John Lennon.
Don't let Vinny hear you say that.
He probably did. Can I go first?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. For a while, this was one of my favorite songs of all time. And then I took it off that list because I thought, it doesn't. I didn't really grow up with it. I knew the song. I love the song. It's a very utopian society song. Imagine by John Lennon. It's not. It's a very fantastic. I would make the argument it's one of the best songs of all time. I don't just with the people like it's for the critics and the trolls and like, oh, it's just him being not really. It's a great song. It's a fantastic song about just living life to the fullest. There's a reason why when you listen to classic rock radio stations, they have this like the top 2 or 3, or maybe even top 5, truthfully. But they say this is a great song. Bill, what's your take on Imagine?
A lot of people say it's the Communist Manifesto appointed to made for music.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing. I think the song is great because this is, Vietnam War is still going on.
Correct.
And a lot of people, and that's the saying, I will trade anything in the world for peace. Imagine, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you can join us and the world will be
as one.
But the song has gained some controversy in years.
I mean, and to its discredit, I think it has, but that's just me.
Because, I think the big thing that people point out, and this was actually pointed out recently in 2020.
Yeah.
In one of the most cringy videos of all time.
Oh, yeah.
When you had Gal Gadot and all those celebrities singing it.
Yeah. No, that was, yeah.
I think they had good intentions.
The execution was not there.
I think it was just in poor taste.
Unfortunately.
Imagine there's no heaven. Okay, if you're telling someone who is of deep religious faith that, okay, your loved one's not in heaven.
Yeah, it definitely leans a certain way with that.
Again, I think this is the line that bring the controversy to John Lennon and to that video. But imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. Because the controversy goes, John Lennon's a millionaire, yet he's singing about imagine no possessions. And these celebrities are singing imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. Well, these people are like billionaires.
They got a lot of money in the bank, yeah.
And yet, what about someone who just lost their job because of the pandemic? Or who is now financially struggling?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I can see the argument why people think of why that song is controversial. I can see the argument. Are they right? I don't know. What do you think, buddy?
I think it's up to the interpreter and the listener. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you.
I think it's up to you.
I think it's up to the listener. I mean, honestly, this is one of those very rare examples in music and culture and popular art forms that I think this is truly a up to the eye of the beholder, and whatever you interpret it as, you interpret it as. But I really do think that it's a powerful song. It's simple. It's a very easy song to play on the piano. It actually is. But it's not, I don't know. It's very, very simple. And I feel like it's a simple thing to see and do, truthfully. That's just me. I mean, everyone's there could be like, I feel like it's like, those you don't know, there's like whole websites on Bohemian Rhapsody, like the song, like about dissecting every single word out of it. I feel like there's websites just for this too. Like people who have spent their whole life like, what does this mean? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I think it's up to the beholder, though. Really think so, bud. What do you think?
No, I actually agree with that. Like, it's up to the beholder. Like,
it's up to the listener. Excuse me, not the beholder. What am I thinking?
It is up to the listener.
We're up. I mean, he got shot 45 years ago. Come December.
It'll be 45 years.
For those of you who don't know, I'm not telling you where we are, but we live in New York, and we're within radius of New York City. And I actually went down to the Strawberry Fields about almost a year ago now. Actually, I went down there for a day. It's a very emotional place. There's a guy playing guitar there sometimes. It's the place where John Lennon got shot, and there's a lot of people celebrating his life and legacy down there too.
And I remember I went to you know, because I remember one time I went across the street to the Dakota.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it's just like, I remember I was standing in the exact place where Mark David Chapman stood.
That's scary, but yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is where he stood. That's where John Lennon was when he got shot.
Yeah, and it's a very, when you're there, it's very surreal, and it's a very surreal thing to do and see. Truthfully, I went down there and I saw it. So, yeah, we can talk about Imagine all day. Not gonna lie.
So, okay, so what we talk about next, buddy?
Well, let's jump over back to Motown for a second. I think I have. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but actually, so to make a very long backstory short, my aunt, who lives actually in California, in Los Angeles, and is not evacuated yet because she lives in Long Beach. She's doing okay, everyone. Don't worry. And shout out to you, Veronica. And she gave me the album by Marvin Gaye, What's Going On.
Oh, beautiful.
We have one of the most pioneering albums and riskiest decisions that Berry Gordy and Marvin Gaye ever compromised on. And allow me to explain really quick before you jump in for a second there, my friend. I want to explain something for a sec. It's 1972, 3, the Vietnam War is still going on. And Marvin Gaye, the story goes that if Berry Gordy, the head of Motown Records at the time, Bill, and Marvin Gaye reach a deal because Marvin Gaye made the album What's Going On. I don't know if you ever knew this. They made the deal saying, all right, we'll put out What's Going On. And if you're right, if I'm right, you'll learn something about the world. And if you're right, I'll learn something about the world. And as Berry Gordy will say to this day, I learned something about the world. The reaction to this song. It's the song, the album. It's a quiet, again, kind of like Imagine almost, but it's a quiet protest album.
Because it's the line, it still gives me
chills.
Like
picket signs and what is it? Picket signs and so don't punish me
with brutality.
Yeah.
There's a song, the line going, mother, there's far too many of you crying. Father, brother, there's far many of you dying. We got to find a way to bring some love in here today. And then the line, Father, everyone thinks we're wrong, but who are they to judge us just because our hair is long?
Yeah, exactly. And Marvin,
the song actually was written about a race riot.
Yeah.
And then
again, we're not getting political. We're just stating what happened.
Yes. Picket lines, sister, and picket signs, sister.
It's you ones, I believe, if you have listened to our podcast for any period of time, you've heard Bill say this once before, and I agree, and I think there's many more songs to describe the year 2020, but I think this is definitely one of them for sure.
Oh,
you said it yourself, bud. You said this is one of the songs that you would describe 2020 as. What's going on?
Because at the end of the day, guess what? You're asking yourself,
what's going on? You're not asking yourself, to do what you can. You're not asking yourself for a reckoning. You're asking yourself, what's going on? What's happening? And if it's funny, I feel like our generation's 1968 was 2020. If you like the people lived through 1968, and lived through that era of music and time and stuff written by and all the art stuff that came out of that, I feel like 2020 sparked a whole new writing. We'll get to Green Day in a minute too. I don't know, more than a minute, but yeah, I think yeah, definitely. Because we've been going for almost an hour. But anyways, I think that this, if you've never heard the album, not just the song, the album, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, do yourself an effing favor and please, please, please. I know we know all art is subjective. We all know music is subjective. There are going to be some hardcore metalheads like, no, this is the worst. No, you're entitled to your opinion, but you have to acknowledge greatness when you hear it or see it or listen to it or read it. That is just how art works. Greatness is greatness for a reason. It's not just all about death metal or deathcore. And I like that stuff to an extent, but not to like this is true art.
When I remember listening to this song. It was I think it was after George Floyd was killed, and I remember I put this song on and seeing all the protests. I'm like thinking, what the hell is going on right now? We got a pandemic. We got racial tensions that are at like 1960s level.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is going on right now?
It's funny actually, and like I said, we'll probably Green Day will probably be the last one we touch on. But yeah,
one of the last ones because we got a lot to get to, but maybe we'll cut some out. We don't know yet. We've been going for an hour. It's like 8:36.
Yeah, we're already an hour in.
The next 1970s protest song.
That outside of Marvin Gaye's what's I'm sorry. I don't think let's push it to the 70s, like late 70s. I was actually listening to this album before we started streaming our podcast tonight, Bill. Bill, have you heard of The Clash?
Yes, I did. And you know who's that? And it's somebody's favorite band. And you know who that someone is?
He's already watching and listening to us. Don't worry.
It is our very good friend,
Dr.
Matt Hemsley.
He's our very, very, very dear friend of ours.
And our number one fan.
And our number one fan, he's
watching right now.
He is enjoying our show as always. And I listen, we sound small screen and whatnot, but all of our listeners out there, we love you especially too. But no, in all seriousness though, The Clash, Bill, The Clash. Like, you want to talk about like music changing the world? London Calling by The Clash. I mean, we don't talk about The Clash that often on. Yes, Matt Hemsley, thank you. I know I did this for you. But he's watching us now. He's listening to us. If you've never heard the album London Calling, when I first heard it, I was like, there's no way this is a metal album. I thought it was a hard rock, like metal, like Black Sabbath-y. This is before I listened to the whole thing. No, actually, I was very surprised by it being an album by a band called The Clash. Yeah, right. No, you don't fuck with The Clash. Okay, I'm cursing on air. I don't care. We label our shows explicit sometimes for a reason. That's why. You don't F with The Clash. They are pioneers of the genre. It's hard to sound like The Clash are one of those bands that, truthfully, and Bill, stop me if you've heard this already. The Clash were one of those bands where it doesn't sound like traditional punk, which is like aggressive, fast garage rock, but it doesn't sound like anything else but The Clash either. And London Calling is one of those albums. If you have never heard the album London Calling by one of the best bands that has ever walked the effing earth, The Clash, more than just Stand By Me, more than just Train in Vain, more than just they are so much more than Should I Stay or Should I Go. That is an overrated song. London Calling is a fan-freaking-tastic album. Please, please, please stream it. Stop listening to us on your podcast feed and stream London Calling, and you'll understand how we are doing protest songs right now on our show. I yield. Do you have anything for
What are they protesting?
Oh, let's look at the track listing for a second. I feel like I'm on my other show right now. There's the themes are like, the themes are about gun control, safe sex, bombs, political apathy. What is it? I have right here. I'm looking at it right now. It says consumerism. The title track is influenced by a nuclear reactor plant in Pennsylvania. Like politics and rock and roll had not really meshed as well as it did when you got to The Clash, for lack of a better word. I'm also just looking at some of their others. There's a reason why it's called London Calling, and it's got a lot. Like Death and Glory is about like complications of adulthood, like Clampdown comments on people who forsake the open-minded idealism of youth and urges young people to go fight for the status quo. You want to talk about rebellion? You want to talk about rebelling against your government? Hence what just happened on Monday against our newly elected president here in the United States. There were people in the streets. You could go back and listen to the Clampdown by The Clash and see and depict things in the songs about what is happening today. This came out in 1979, Bill. 79, this came out. That was right as Jimmy Carter was exiting the White House, a year before he did. And then Ronald Reagan took over. And like I said, we're not getting political, but if you know your history and if you know your American history around that time period, it's a very different time. So, and America made its choice. They did what they had to do for a solid decade, and that's what happened. But The Clash are one of those bands. If you've never heard The Clash, get on it. Okay, I'm sorry. London Calling. Bruce Springsteen covers London Calling sometimes live. He did it in like 2009 at the Hyde Park in London. Ironically enough. So, anyways, I digress. The Clash. Anything else for The Clash before we go on?
I don't really know much about The Clash. Sorry, Dr. Hemsley.
Yes, our dear friend Matt Hemsley would.
I know it's the only band that matters.
They are one of the most powerful acts ever. But you want to talk about like an S tier quality band? The Clash are up there. Sex Pistols, same thing. The Sex Pistols are like the B level Clash, for lack of a better word. So I digress. But London Calling, if you've never heard it, you might be surprised by what you hear. It's punk rock, but it's brought different ideas into the punk genre. It's not just like, let's go. But it's not. The Ramones are fan-frickin-tastic too. The Ramones, I love the Ramones over the Clash. But that might sound like a controversial statement, but I'm being serious.
Oh, you just pissed off Dr. Hemsley.
I love the Clash, but the Ramones are like much more like fun, where the Clash got very political, and I try to separate the two out. But I love the Clash no matter what, though. Sorry, Matt. Anyways, no. Now we've kind of entered the 80s a little bit. What is it? Who was it? There was the only three I could really think of are not really three. Yeah, let's talk about it for a sec. You mentioned REM before.
Yeah. Hold on. There is actually a song I do want to talk about from the 70s.
Okay, make it really quick. What do you got? What is it called?
It's actually from your least favorite band, Pink Floyd.
Sorry, everyone. What is it called? What's the song called?
It's an album called Animals.
Yes, I do know about this. I don't know much, but go on. You can tell me. What do you got?
Okay, I'm going to make this quick. It's actually based on George Orwell's Animal Farm.
I did know this, but go on. Yep.
And it's describing classes in society of different kinds of animals: predatory dogs, despotic, ruthless pigs, and the mindless and unquestioning herd of sheep. And the album is critical of capitalism and differs again. The sheep eventually rise up to overpower the dogs.
All right.
And it's basically the
It's like the song version of the book.
yes, pretty much. There's like
Okay.
and there are songs that says pigs on the wing, dog, pigs, the 3 different ones, which has, again, not getting political. When Roger Waters plays this in concert,
Yeah.
he releases a giant pig balloon and he has Trump's face on it.
Oh, dear God. Okay. Again, not getting political. We're just stating what Roger Waters does.
And he had a controversial thing a couple years ago because of his stance on Israel. He had the pig go on and it had the Star of David on it.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
And people accused Roger Waters of being anti-Semitic.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was like, and he said, no, my daughter-in-law is Jewish. I'm like, yeah, don't do that. Please don't do that, Roger. That's
no way.
You're just digging yourself a deeper hole. The right response would be, yeah, I'm sorry, and move on. And don't do it again. But anyway, there's also, real quick, another Pink Floyd song. I think you know what it is.
Another brick in the wall?
We don't need no education.
Is that a protest song, though? Is it actually?
I'm good. I'm looking at it right now. We don't need no thought control.
I think it's in the lyrics. I'm not going to lie.
No dark sarcasm in the classroom.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. As much as I,
hey, JT, leave us kids alone.
I will.
Anyway,
with the wall.
The wall. It's actually a protest against rigid schooling in boarding schools in the UK.
Okay.
And also during the song, if you've watched the film, which wall commentary coming soon.
Oh, my Lord.
There is actually a scene when children in a school are marching in unison through a meat grinder.
Yeah, there's pictures of it right here. I'm looking at it. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
pretty graphic. But anyways, we see your point though.
Wall commentary coming soon.
Oh, talk about an acid trip. No, but anyways.
All right, so let's go to the 80s.
This was 1980, actually. It was 79 to 80.
79, but let's go to the 80s.
It charted at number 1 in 1980. Fun fact. Did you know that?
I did not. The more you know.
This has been the more you know with the J-Man. All right, let's shoot. Oh, where was it? REM band. REM is a band that I love to death, but over the course of the 80s, they were kind of like, and I'll get to U2 in a minute too, regardless of how you feel about them as a band. REM, and I'm not going to brush through the service because we do have time, which is good. But REM, I mean, they were activists. Michael Stipe, whatever you think about him now, I think he's a genius. Bill Berry, Mike Mills, and Peter Buckner. Peter Buck, not Buckner, sorry. Peter Buck. I'm thinking baseball. For those of you that don't like reference, good for you. They were outspoken critics of, and again, we're not getting political. We're just stating what happened. REM was very, very anti Ronald Reagan and his conservative policies. Again, I'm not getting political. I'm just stating how they felt at the time in the mid 80s. A lot of people felt that way, but they especially were like, yeah, this is just not for us. So they said, don't stop the gun violence. Go to your local congresswoman or a congressman and say, hey, this is what I feel about this, blah, 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 blah. And eventually time progressed on and whatnot too. But REM, their music is not political necessarily. There is some of their song titles allude to that a little bit, like in World Leader Pretend, or it's the end of the world as we know, and I feel fine. Or what's the one I got? Not Finest Work song. This one, there's a specific Half a World Away. Some of the stuff in their 90s catalog was like Ignoreland. If you ever heard that song, actually, it's a really powerful song. Or Everybody Hurts. These are songs that actually are not necessarily not necessarily protest songs, but they were a band that stood up to the powers that be peacefully. They peacefully said, we don't like what you're doing, and we're going to do it against you. And then I was like, they'll never change. And time showed, hey, maybe they are right. Maybe things evolve over time. Evolution happens in American and a worldwide society. But REM, they wrote a couple of songs, not many, but they were a band that stood up to the powers that be and said, we have something to say. We're not happy with it, and we want to hopefully change it. That's what their mission was. I don't know if you knew any of that, Bill, but that's just Michael Stipe. I've done my research, and they are something really special. They're no longer a band. They no longer tour. If they ever came back, that'd be great. But yeah, I did touch on. I'll get to Bruce in a second too, but and a couple others too. But U2. Regardless how you feel about U2 as a band or whatever you think about them, some people hate them, some people love them. I'm of the opinion that they are one of my favorite bands of all time. However, and I personally, I'm just saying this as a person on Earth who can very calmly and respectfully say that I love U2. Where the Streets Have No Name. I'm not gonna make this a big thing, Bill, but Where the Streets Have No Name is my third favorite song of all time. If you have a problem with that, that's on you. I love that song. I love this band. Their celestial music has changed my world. But I'm not one to shy away from something. Some of their music is very, very. Bill's going to chime in a second too, with not anti-government necessarily, but just like they're a band that stood up to what, again, kind of like REM. They stood up to what they believed in. Hey, we're activists. We might have all the money in the world from selling our music. That is really very good overall. Some is better than others, but you listen to Sunday Bloody Sunday, New Year's Day. You listen to Seconds. It takes a second to say goodbye. Their songs on their album War, Bill. I don't know if you ever knew about this. Their songs on their album War have so much like strength to them. And this is 83 going into 84. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Go ahead. So I cut you off. Sunday Bloody Sunday, anything. You do you have anything for U2?
Yeah, Sunday Bloody Sunday. For those who don't know, it's actually about the
massacre,
Bloody
right?
Sunday in Ireland in the early 1970s.
Correct.
And about how between the IRA not the IRA,
what is the
pro-Catholic Republicans. I'm not talking about Republicans in the U.S.
No, yeah, it's two different things.
Quick history lesson. Okay.
Go ahead.
For those of you who don't know the whole political stuff of Ireland, Google it. It exists, but here's the Cliff Notes version. Ireland, the Republic of Ireland,
yes,
is what they call Republicans. And I don't mean like the U.S. Republicans, which means they believe Ireland should be independent. And then you have Northern Ireland, which are Unionists, who believe that Ireland should be loyal to the British Crown or to the UK. And there's a lot of Google this shit. It exists.
Yeah, it's very informative. Google.
And look it up.
Yeah.
And that there was tensions for years. There's the Troubles. I got into the 60s and 70s. And then this was the turning point with
this massacre.
With this massacre and the fights in the street. If you want to, and stuff that's been going on since the Easter Rising in 1916. If you want more about that, listen to the song Zombies by the Cranberries.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, with their tanks and their bombs. Yeah, but anyway, no, this song is about the Bloody Sunday of 1970.
Yeah, needless to say.
Yeah, it's a great song, though.
Fantastic. It opened up their show in the Joshua Tree Tour 2017. A great, I will always say this no matter what, as long as they are still a band, one of the best live acts to see, period. However you feel about them as a band, or, oh, I don't like their politics or their music sucks, whatever, shut the fuck up. They're one of the best live acts. There's a reason why even people who hate U2 go to see U2 and they've changed their mind. I'm not joking. There are people who have done that. Respectfully, you don't get it. It pisses me off. We're like, yeah, they're weird or whatever. Or they're just say, oh, fuck U2. Well, guess what? They're still one of the best live bands on the planet Earth. There's a reason why they make every other magazine like the top live acts of any other magazine. Not just Rolling Stone or like music magazines. They are one of the best live acts, period. And I've seen a plethora of other artists, Metallica, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Green Day. I've seen a plethora of different artists of different genres to see that happen. Pop artists, same thing. One of the best to ever do it. Easily. Needless, and so that I don't want to get too into them, but like Bullet the Blue Sky is one off the Joshua Tree. I want to also echo some later songs in their catalog, like Get Out of Your Own Way. That was in 2017. And they've written songs about certain things over their career. And if you want to get into more protesty music, U2, I recommend it personally. One of my favorite bands ever.
Oh, ever. Absolutely.
One of the most recognizable sounds in a guitar ever. One of the most best vocalists and frontmen ever. Period. Hands down. Needless to say. Anyways.
Okay.
Let's talk about Born in the USA.
Yep. Born in the USA.
No, you weren't born in the USA. You're talking about a Vietnam veteran trying to rebuild his life. It's a song about Vietnam veterans trying to rebuild their lives.
And
people mistake it as like this 4th of July, like, oh, I'm going to shoot off some fireworks. Like same thing with Fortunate Son.
And we did misinterpreted song. We won't spend too much time on this because we talked about it when we did misinterpreted song lyrics, but
go back and listen to that when you get a chance. Yeah.
This is probably the most misinterpreted song of all time.
Honestly, it might be because it was a huge hit. People forget that. Like it's funny actually. I think I brought this up when we were talking about misinterpreted song lyrics, Bill. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this too. Bruce put out the song Born. It becomes a huge staple on the Hot 100. You know, it reached like number 5 or 6, whatever, up there on the Billboard, the pop charts. It reached just under Dancing in the Dark. Everyone knows the song. Everyone saw him on that tour. Blah, 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 blah. And they don't know what the damn song means. They think it's a patriotic anthem to even Ronald Reagan at the time. He's like, this is a great song. Really?
He used the song for his campaign. I think he used it in an ad, and Bruce Springsteen sued him and said, hey, you might want to listen to the words there, dude.
Literally. If you, and I cannot emphasize that as a lifelong, forever and ever, Bruce Springsteen fan, kid you not, if you go back and listen to the Bruce Springsteen on Broadway version of this song, take out the anthemic choruses, take out the music that made it what it was, and it is stripped down to a bare bones guitar-driven track on just the acoustic guitar, and then he sings the lyrics. Totally different. Totally effing different song because of the music. The music amplified the song. My grandfather, God rest his soul, went to the grave never knowing what it meant. He literally went through the 80s. He lived through the 80s. Oh yeah, born down in a dead man. No, he literally never understood until I told him. I said, you know what it's about, right? He's like, no, what is it about? I said, it's about a Vietnam veteran trying to rebuild his life in the U.S. and the people telling him no. But yeah, let's go have hot dogs while we're at it too. No.
I think people really need to know what this song is actually about.
If you and to Bill's point, if you listen to the Springsteen on Broadway version from 2018 when he was on Broadway, listen to that version and you'll understand what it's about. It's dark, it's sad, it's depressing, but the music, the chords, the song, the amplified sonic architecture of that song is misinterpreted. The music. I mean, the music amplifies one thing, the message is a completely different thing. So, sorry, I cut you off. What do you got?
No, like this song is basically a protest song.
Big time. Big
I
time.
think people really need to listen to the words. Okay, do we got anything else in the 80s or?
Let's move on to the 90s for a second. I'm not going to get, there's only really one.
Is it the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know, actually.
I was thinking,
what were we thinking?
NWA, F the Police.
Oh, well, I mean, that was actually 88, but we can talk about it, sure. I'm not okay. So, all right. And also, you reminded me of something too. I'll follow you up with that, and then we'll get to the 90s in a second.
NWA. This was a time when riots were going on.
Straight Outta Compton. That's what it was.
Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
And they were doing the song F the Police. And when they were doing it at a show, I forgot who it was, but the cops came and told them, so you play that song, you're getting arrested. And stands up and goes, they don't want us to play this, we're going to do it anyway. And it was a song about police brutality, F the Police.
Yeah, and we're not going to say anything else, but that's just, you interpreted that as you will.
Yeah, but I think it was a fight again. And listen, not all cops are bad, folks. Not all cops are bad, folks. There are some good cops out there who protect and serve, but there are others who really shouldn't be on the force. There are.
Again, we're not sharing our opinions. We're just saying that generically.
There's good and bad people in every group.
Every group. Teachers, firefighters, you name it. Go on.
Everybody. But, when this is about standing up against police brutality.
Yes, correct.
Especially if you go to LA in the late 80s and early 90s.
Forget it.
Like there were the LA riots.
Yeah.
Then OJ, it was insane.
It's funny. If you really think about it, Bill, if you really think about NWA in the late 80s, this one album, Straight Outta Compton, really, in my opinion, shows not just how things were then and now. That's a different conversation. To me, and this could be like a whole thing about our show tonight, about how music as a whole, regardless of whatever genre it is, whatever type of hip hop or rap or rock or folk, man, music as an entity on earth, Bill, has power. And depending on how you shape that power, it has the ability to change the world. And this is proof of that. NWA's Straight Outta Compton, and also the other one by Public Enemy. I don't know if you know that one. It takes the nations of millions to hold us back. Again, police brutality, same theme, same thematic stuff here, same thematic energy and stuff. But it really showed how and I'm not getting political. I'm just saying how it was. The LA in the late 80s into the early 90s, before Bill Clinton took over and as the president of the United States, and how things were back then. A lot of police brutality were going on. The black community had mainly been like pissed off until this point. Like we've had it with it. Like another one is Run DMC's Proud to Be Black.
Because what it is.
Like
okay,
87?
we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we were talking about when I said about Bob Dylan in that scene of Incomplete Unknown, and his girlfriend is saying it's not the Dust Bowl anymore. There are problems, war, injustice, and
yeah, exactly.
You know what it is? It's because I think back to that scene. I think why a lot of these songs are still relevant is because a lot of these problems still exist today.
Yeah. And
They
it's not like
still
there's,
and I'm not getting political, but
no,
a
we're
lot
not.
of these problems still exist. And I think that's why a lot of these songs are still relevant.
Yeah.
Because
And like,
these problems didn't just go away. You know,
I'm
we don't have problems like mules and carts in Oklahoma anymore. But and
Right.
that's why those songs aren't relevant anymore. But these songs are because these problems still exist.
and it's
And that's why I think all
Yeah.
these songs from the 60s to now, they're still relevant today.
it shows you how America, what the world can be. It can
And
be a fairer
while we
world.
have made great progress, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yes, it's a generational cause, Bill. It takes
And-
generations of people to do that.
But yeah, we're going on to the 90s.
I want to say two more things about the 80s, then we can go to the 90s. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, really quick. So Public Enemy, we talked about NWA, but Public Enemy, I'm sorry. I have to just talk about them for a second. They are a very, very, I'm not going to say anything about specific, but Chuck D and Public Enemy, if you've ever listened to them, it takes a nation of millions to hold us back. If you have never heard a nation of millions to hold us back by Public Enemy, you want to talk about the same stuff that NWA is saying, but with lesser curse words, or like Fight the Power by Public Enemy. Public Enemy it's in the title of the artist. Public Enemy is Public Enemy. They are
the Public Enemy.
They not just that, they say don't F with us because we will mess you up. It takes millions of people to hold us back. That is, for lack of a better word, Bill, that is music meant to take on the world.
Oh, it is.
Music to take on the world and the powers that be, and maybe even God himself, for all we know. I had to touch on that. On a much more softer note, though, before we finish up with the 80s, I just want to, and then we'll go to the 90s and 2000s, and then we'll be done. But I want to say Tracy Chapman. I don't know if you know about her or not.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Tracy Chapman? I love Tracy Chapman. Her voice is so soulful and great. There's one song, and we're going back to songs for a sec, but talking about a revolution. Have you ever heard this song, Bill?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever heard it.
Okay, if you the lyrics are really in 2020 again. In 2020, the song became a powerhouse. Talking about a revolution. I'll read some of the lyrics. I don't care who's listening. I don't really care what people think about us at this point, but I just want to show that the lyrics are talking about, and I think it's relevant.
Let the world burn at this point.
Don't you know? What is it? Talking about a revolution. It sounds like a whisper. Don't you know? Talking about a revolution. It sounds like a whisper. While they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know? Talking about a revolution. Sounds like a whisper. Then, this came out in 1988. Okay, hear me out for a sec. An election year, mind you. Poor people going to rise up and get their share. Poor people going to rise up and take what's theirs. Don't you know? Better run, whatever. Because the tables are finally starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Yeah. I've been standing on the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps. Repeat the chorus. Yeah. Tell me how this is not a protest song. It's all in the title, and it's not a hard rock song. It's not it's a very quiet, peaceful, acoustic song.
Do you think maybe sometimes that gets the message across even more?
I think, again, what I just said a minute ago, I think music has power. And I think depending on how you deliver it, if you listen, if you could look at Born in the USA and look at Talking About a Revolution for a sec, but Talking About a Revolution and is a quieter song, musically speaking, with acoustic guitar, whatever. Right? But if you listen to Born in the USA, the electric version, it's a not hard rock, but it's a hard rocking song. It's a loud, bombastic song. The music overrules the lyrics, whereas in this case, the lyrics overrules the music. So that's the power of Tracy Chapman's. I just want to say something. Tracy Chapman, if you're out there listening to us, it's okay if you're not. You're a fantastic lyricist. I love your song, Fast Car. Luke Combs covered you. But Tracy Chapman's talking about a revolution. Truthfully, a powerful song. In 1988, the election of George H.W. Bush, people. You know, the world was the way it was then. And then talking about a revolution. Anyways, I digress. Two more for the 90s, my friend. Two more.
All right,
ready?
Let's
Because I know
go.
we're going for a long time. But Pearl Jam. You know why I say Pearl Jam?
Why?
Two reasons. Number one, well, more than two, but really, let me explain. We've got time. They came onto the music scene as part of the grunge and alternative rock scene, and truthfully took over the airwaves, as we've talked about before on the Super Review Show. I will say though, Pearl Jam, and while being one of my favorite bands at the moment with their album Dark Matter. If you never heard Dark Matter, that came out last year in 2024, get on it. Pearl Jam, a fantastic band. They had huge success with their first record. Then they started to fight against it. We have music videos on MTV now. We're trying to, they had all the success. However, I would make the argument that Pearl Jam is the U2 of America. What I mean by that is Pearl Jam are not just musicians, they are activists. They stand up for what they believe is right, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent or whatever. They are activists. They stand up for what they believe in. I respect that, truthfully, about them. Regardless of how I feel about politics or life in general, they stand up for what they want to see as a right thing. There's a very famous story, but I don't know if you know about this. In 1994, they went after Ticketmaster for fees. Did you hear about this? Okay, you were. I don't know if you ever heard about this. Like they said that the ticket pricing went up because Ticketmaster, being the greedy bastards that they are, they're like,
they are.
They're fucking stupid. I swear.
And they hit you with all these ridiculous fees.
Oh, you want to hear something crazy? So for those who don't know, it's just a quick sign up. Billy Idol and Joan Jett are touring this year in 2025. The meet and greet price to meet Billy Idol and Steve Stevens, Bill, is $600. You know how much that's just to meet them. I get Billy Idol wants to charge it. You're going to meet him, whatever, right? You know how much the service fees were to that? And this ties into what Pearl Jam's talking about.
How much?
An extra $180 to do that.
So don't forget the breathing fee. The breathing fee, JT.
Yes, Bill. The breathing fee. How can we forget the breathing fee? The fact that I have to stand next to like $780.
It's an extra $20.
$780 to meet and talk to Billy Idol. The $600 part, I get it. Someone's gonna pay that at some point if they're a diehard Billy Idol fan. But if you're like,
my $600 is better used somewhere else.
It is. No, but you see my example though. The fees are $120, $180 to just process your order. As an experienced goer in today's society, who loves concerts, who loves ball games, and I love that sort of stuff, that is ungodly stupid. I love doing stuff like that. I talked to Megan Trainor. I didn't meet her, but I talked to her for $100 total. That is ungodly stupid on their part to have $180 fee to meet someone on top of already paying $600 to meet someone. That is ungodly stupid. How that ties back into Pearl Jam though? In the 1990s, they fought against that. They're like, you know what? Fuck you, Ticketmaster. Fuck you. You are so stupid. You're an ungrateful monopoly of tickets. And the Taylor Swift Eras tour proved that too. Not just Bruce Springsteen's tour. Oh, he's old, whatever. When Taylor Swift announced her tour, the ticket sales went through the roof and everyone bought them in droves. And the people who didn't get it, I couldn't get it because they were $3,000. $3,000? Are you fucking kidding me right now? I'm sorry.
Someone sold their tickets
to pay off their college tuition.
And they paid off their college loans.
That's
good for that person. He paid off his loans. I applaud him.
Yes, but circling back. Pearl Jam are activists. They are truly. They're great musicians too. From one of the
Eddie
best
Vedder is a big activist.
Eddie Vedder is a huge activist. He's just like Bono is an activist, just like Michael Stipe, REM. When they were activists, Pearl Jam is one of those bands that just became an activist band. That's why I say they're the U2 of America. They came out of Seattle as a grunge band on the scene, but then they evolved to do more things as a band just to do certain things, like just to help out like the ocean, because Eddie Vedder loves surfing. He's like, I don't want to see garbage on the ocean. I want it to get clean. He started he helped with fundraising, and not just in the United States. They do it at every single venue. In Australia, they say we're going to help out the ocean, the whales. And when they go over to Europe, they help out like food banks over there and stuff. Or they are activists. They do things to help out the world as best they can. They, regardless of political reasons, they do things to help out the world if they can, because they have the power to do so. Red Hot Chili Peppers, same thing. I'm not going to talk about them, though. But anyways, protest music. They are activists. Some of their music is political, not entirely. Like some of it is, some of it isn't. Not all of it is, actually. I take that back. Some stuff is like the Mind Your Manners from their later albums, or Lightning Bolt, stuff like that. That's a little bit like more political, topical stuff. But yeah, no. I will say though, I have one more band I want to touch on for the 90s, but and then we can go to the last one we're probably going to talk about tonight. Is that okay?
Well, when we get to the 2000s, I want to give some context when we get there.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
I think
90s. What do we got for the next 90s?
There's one more group in the 1990s, and they are that you want to talk about protest music, Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
Tom Morello's super powered 4-man power group known as Rage Against the Machine. If you're stupid and live under a rock, which we're not saying you're stupid, but if you don't understand the name Rage Against the Machine, their name is literally derived against like governmental issues. They are the rock version of Public Enemy, and if not like NWA, they are the rock version of that. And Tom Morello, I'm just gonna say this really quick, Bill. Tom Morello has to be in the conversation as one of the best guitarists of all time. Tom Morello is a fucking genius on the guitar. He is a true pioneer. He literally took the guitar, he made it, and he plays it so differently from just your regular, like your Randy Rhoads or your Jimmy Pages or your Edges or your Chuck Berrys, your Eddie Van Halens. The dude literally took it. He moves his hands around the neck, and instead, he is a pioneer of the instrument. He changed the way you can play the guitar, just like Eddie Van Halen invented. It came up with tapping and popularized that. The dude should have more credit than he gets. Tom Morello. But Rage Against the Machine. I'm going off my soapbox for a second, but Rage is a very, very, very political. I'm not saying where I'm at. I'm saying we're there. They're a very left-leaning group. They're a very, very liberal group, and they, truthfully, don't like the Republican Party. I'm not trying to get political. I'm just saying what they believe, as I just said.
But you
Say
know
what you will. Go ahead, Bill.
You know
Sorry.
what's interesting about Tom Morello personally?
What's that?
You know who he's very good friends with?
Bruce Springsteen.
Ted Nugent.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard about that.
And if anyone knows, Ted Nugent is like super right wing.
Yeah, again, this is just not us. This is what they said.
And
they're friends. They don't talk politics.
Yeah, because I guess one of them asked him was, well, how, you're very left wing, he's very right wing. How do you guys get along? We just don't talk politics.
Exactly.
And it's just really weird because Tom Morello is super left wing and Ted Nugent is super right wing.
It's ironic that they're friends.
But you know what? Maybe we should all be like that. If you're a Tom Morello, find your Ted Nugent. If you're a Ted Nugent, find your Tom Morello. I could not agree more with that, my friend. But anyway,
we need more purpling in this country. That's the one thing I'm going to say that's purple. But that's the political. That we need to have more purpling. In this
I never really listened to a lot of Rage Against the Machine, but I do know they're super political. Like when they
killing in the name of,
they stood on stage naked to protest Tipper Gore.
Oh yeah,
because Tipper Gore started the Parent Music Resource Center or whatever. And
yeah,
they protested that. And I know the infamous Clear Channel 9/11 list, the song we touched on some of that, the songs that were banned, they just listed all songs by Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine is, needless to say, like the ultimate left-leaning group of the music industry.
We should do one of these days?
What's that?
For a 9/11 anniversary, you, me, and whoever wants to go in, we should just go through the whole Clear Channel list, all 100-something songs.
And talk about each one?
And see whether we thought the banning was justified or not.
We'll be here for 3 hours.
Well, it's the ones that we really know. We
can figure it out, Joe. We can figure it out.
Yeah, we got a long way to go. But anyway.
Anyways, I digress. Go ahead.
But what I don't know much of their music, but I do know a lot of Tom Morello's views.
Yeah, not only that too. I mean, they say Rage Against the Machine. I mean, one of their songs just passed 1 billion streams on Spotify. It's called "Killing in the Name." Yeah, that's a very, very powerful song. It's like killing in the name of now they do what they told you. It's you want to talk about rioting against like conservative viewerships. In fact, again, I'm saying this because I happened to hear about it. I didn't see it personally, but I saw this. Tom Morello, Bill, stop me if you've heard this already. This is back in 2020 when COVID was killing everyone and whatnot. Tom Morello said he saw a Fox News quote. It said Donald Trump rages against the machine. Okay, I'm not getting political. I'm just saying. I thought that was, and he was like, Tom Morello was like, yeah, you don't get that. And he actually sued them and said, take that off the news right now. You don't deserve to talk about that. We believe this, that we get freedom of speech. We understand all that, but you are wrong. Take that off, whatever. He was firing back on every social media platform against that run post. That he's Tom Morello. I love his guitar playing. I have no comment to say about his political views, but I've also heard Rage Against the Machine is one of the best live acts to go see. I have not seen them. I wanted to when they were touring, but I did not see them personally. I would love to though. I'm sure they'd be a killer show.
I don't know much about their music, so.
Oh yeah, a Bulls on Parade. That's Bulls on Parade. That's so good. Oh my god. Anyways, they're
Right.
Anyways, we gotta finish off the night at some point.
Okay. Now we go to the 2000s. I'm going to give some historical context, if you don't mind.
Please do, my friend.
Okay. September 11th, 2001, the World Trade Center and the Pentagon is attacked.
Yes,
music kind of took a different route. Like in late 2001 and 2002, music was mainly melancholy. It was like going through the stages of grief. But then starting around 2002, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. A lot of people ask why country music is very right-wing nowadays.
Oh, I don't know, Bill. Maybe because it was because of 9/11 and the patriotic stuff that came out of it.
Exactly. Because country music like Johnny Cash and a lot of them were very liberal at one point.
They were. And it's hard to believe that.
And country music used to be very... And there's the song, listen to the song from the 90s, the Garth Brooks song, We Shall Be Free. There is a line about, that people should love whoever they want. This was the 90s.
Yep, different.
Where in some states about people should love who they choose. Guys, this was a time where being gay was illegal in some states.
Correct.
But that was a trading song. But then you go to 2002, there was a Toby Keith song called Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue.
Changed everything.
And that song, because it was a song about putting a boot in the terrorist ass. Yeah. And the mood changed from melancholy to anger. Again, like going through the stages of grief. Going from melancholy to anger. And then March 19th, 2003, announced by President Bush, the U.S. is invading Iraq.
Yep. I was very young. Bill was a little bit older than me, but he might remember that more than I do.
I was young too.
Yeah.
But the U.S. was invading Iraq. And then the music scene, not just the music scene, but the pop culture scene changed miraculously. Because if you look at the famous band, the Dixie Chicks.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
They made a statement saying, we are ashamed to be from Texas, the same state where George Bush is from. We are ashamed to be from that state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guess how that went. Like,
Terrible.
you know how some people who were upset after Colin Kaepernick took a knee and people say they would never watch the NFL again and they were burning their jerseys? Yeah, that's what happened after the Dixie Chicks said that. People were burning their CDs, radio stations refused to play their music. They were supposed to go on a tour with Toby Keith, and Toby Keith said, "Go F yourself." And that was because if anyone who is like my age remembers, George W. Bush said at the beginning of the Iraq War, "If you're not with us, you're against us." And at that time, and when the Dixie Chicks were basically shot, they never fully recovered from that.
No, they never have.
They were basically made an example at that point.
Yeah, like, guess what?
You speak out against this, your career's done. and I would say basically similar to McCarthyism in the 1950s. But
I don't disagree there.
But and it wasn't just in the music world. Michael Moore, when he won Best Documentary for Bowling for Columbine at the Oscars, he came on the stage, he invited his fellow nominees, and he said, "No war, Mr. President, no war." And he got booed at the Oscars.
Yeah, the most critical woke
I'm sorry, what's that?
Yeah, the woke liberal Hollywood. Cut me some fucking
liberal Hollywood. No, he got booed for speaking out against George W. Bush and the Iraq War. Like, this was a time where it was, again, if you're not with us, you're against us. But there was an album that changed everything. And JT,
it really did.
You know what it is. Don't want to be an American idiot. Don't want a nation by the new media. The sound of the stereo.
We're gonna get sued.
I'm sure Billy Joe Armstrong's actually tipping his hat to us right now.
Yeah, thank you, Billy Joe Armstrong. Come on our podcast anytime you want.
This was really the album that really questioned that. Okay, Green Day didn't get the same treatment that the Dixie Chicks got because Green Day wasn't as mainstream, if that makes sense.
Can I chime in to echo your point just a little bit there for a sec? So, all right, hear me out for a second. Hear me out. At the time, Green Day was really only big. At the time, people were like, all right, well, Green Day's from the past. They're 10 years old at this point. Dookie came out with Basket Case, When I Come Around, in 1994, 10 years prior. So they were kind of like elder statesmen at the time.
But they had a very niche following.
Yeah, they had a following. They had a presence. But they had an album in 2000 with Warning, but it wasn't as commercially successful for them. So then the story goes, the age-old story that Billy Joe Armstrong heard like some Lynyrd Skynyrd song. He's like, "I'm proud to be a redneck" or whatever. And I probably imitated and mocked a lot of people. I'm really sorry. But Billy Joe Armstrong's like, "Oh my God, why would you want to do that?" And then the ball started rolling from there. And then he started saying, he talked to Mike Dirnt, the bassist, and Trey Cool, the drummer. And they said, "Hey, let's stand up for what's right. We don't like what's going on either. Let's stand up for what we believe in." Same thing Pearl Jam did, same thing REM did, but in the 2004, okay? Insanity. And then sure enough, go ahead, Bill.
No, go ahead. I cut you off.
Because I just saw them on their tour, and they played the whole album live because there was the 20th anniversary last year on their Saviors tour.
And
look, it was great, and hearing the whole album live was just incredible too. But I mean, you want to talk about like the album became artwork, became like promotional, like anti-Bush movement, whatever. I forget. Go ahead.
Well, because you know what was so like about this song? Green Day was set, third to the song American Idiot. Go everybody do the propaganda. Basically saying, hey, we see through the bullshit.
Yep. It's a protest song.
We know there's no WMDs in Iraq. We know this is a joke.
They sure did.
Because,
They knew it.
listen, again, not getting political, but that's already out the window at this point. But you know, the evidence there was questionable at best. But
Yeah.
But they were basically saying, "Hey, we know this is BS. Wake up, people! This is not. We know they're trying to just." I think the message of American Idiot was, "Hey, we know why you're falling for this, and you know what? Here's where I'll count. I don't think the people back then were stupid.
No,
I think they were just afraid.
I agree.
I think this was 2-3 years after 9/11.
Just a few years. Yep.
And I think people were just terrified.
Yeah.
Because I am a little older than JT, so I had a better image of post 9/11 America rather than JT. And I'm not saying that to put you down, but
no, you're good, bud.
But there was fear. Like, are we safe anymore? And I think when Bush invaded Iraq,
there was a fear.
I think that sort of gave people a little bit of comfort in a way. They said, okay, he's solving the problem. He's solving the problem. This will end our problem. We're done. This will make us sleep at night. And I think Green Day was saying, no, this is ridiculous. There's no WMDs in Iraq. And
yeah.
I think this album just really just expressed people's frustrations.
I agree.
It expressed people's frustrations.
For the people who are alive and of a sane, conscious mind then, this album, for those who don't know of the history behind the album too, it actually is it's a concept album of like how tell the story of the Jesus of Suburbia, who was a character they made. They wanted to go in the studio and make their Tommy, their punk rock opera. They wanted to do something that's never been done before, and they succeeded exponentially at it. The album, I don't know if you know about this, Bill. The album actually became artwork for during the because in 2004, Bush was running for re-election.
That is true.
He won, yes, but this album became a protest artwork for all things. Not just 9/11 or the Iraq War, but the title track is still to this day a protest song. I mean, I'm not going to say specifics, but Billy Joe Armstrong has said he's put a little phrase or a hyphen in. When I did see him live, he said, "I'm not a part of a MAGA agenda." I mean, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. We understand it.
And he did get some backlash for that.
He doesn't care though. He believes it's what he believes. It's what he wants to believe, and he's not going to change it because just the people are so. No, he doesn't. He doesn't care. He's even gone on record and said to people who are like, Billy, we can share our own opinions too. Like, he's like, well, don't listen to my music then. He has commented on stuff on there's Reddit feeds about this. He said stuff like, oh well, I don't want people to. If you don't like what I have to say, don't listen to my music. He's a very, very liberal man. He believes what he believes.
And you know what? I agree with that statement. If he goes, listen, if you don't agree with my politics, then you don't have to listen to me.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't want, if
you stupid, he's not calling you an idiot. He's just saying, listen, you disagree with me. You don't like what I say in my music, then you don't have to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't forget nowadays.
Unfortunately, they do.
Like when someone makes a statement that they disagree with, and I'm talking both sides here, they go on a little fit. I'm like, guys, you don't have to. Like, listen, there are some artists whose music I enjoy, but I don't agree with their politics.
Of course, I'm the same way.
I don't agree with their politics.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, you can enjoy their work. You got to separate the art from the artist.
I'm not going to say anything about our other show Courage Perspectives, but I'm going to say that I know other people who lean a certain way who disagree with Billy Joe Armstrong completely, but they love his music.
Oh, absolutely.
And look, I'm not going to make this a political thing. I'm not. what I will say is you could be and I'm using this as an example to all of the listeners out there and all of our viewers and whatnot too. But dear God, you can be a Democrat and live in Alabama, and you could be a hardcore right-leaning Trump supporter Republican and live in Los Angeles, California. It's not that hard. You can be both, and don't have to critique or attack the other person's opinion. Christ's sake, everyone.
The problem is nowadays, and going back to a song we talked about earlier, for what it's worth, battle lines being drawn, nobody's right if everybody's wrong.
Yeah.
We are so divided nowadays.
And I think it's time we start purpling people. I think we start
I think it's time we start looking past differences.
Look. We're doing the show after the election of our 47th president of the United States. Look, Bill and I have our opinions. We're not going to share them on air.
We're not going to share who we voted for. We're not going to say whether we like or dislike our current president. That is our personal opinion. And listen,
or even the one before.
We have viewers who like him. We have viewers who don't like him. And whatever your opinion is, that's okay.
Exactly. That's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. It's not right.
We
it's
may
not
agree
wrong.
with you. We may disagree with you.
Exactly.
And that's what's so great here. And you know what?
That's what truly makes America a great nation.
Is everyone is entitled to their opinions.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be wanting to kill each other just because we think differently.
Or we disagree. I'm just going to say this before we wrap it up tonight. But great pick for American Idiot. Fantastic choice.
It is. But this album, I think, again, this kind of woke people up saying, "Hey, the WMD Iraq shit is kind of bullshit."
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of bullshit. That didn't happen.
Mm.
Or
exactly.
Hey, I think you're just scared right now in post 9/11 paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
And you're listening to whatever you want to hear to comfort you, which is not really always the best thing to do.
I know.
In the words of one of my favorite shows, Dinosaurs, we all want answers, but we shouldn't go to the first answer just because it's there.
Exactly. Yes. See,
we shouldn't go to the first answer just because it's there.
I'm going to say something to wrap us up for the night because we understand we've been going for almost 2 hours. We understand that.
Yeah, but this is just an interesting topic. We had so much to talk about.
There was a lot to discuss first. I will say this though before we sign off for the night and before we end our stream and our podcast. I will say this. Look, what happened. The next 4 years of American society are going to play out however they will. And I'm just going to say this as a person, not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, but just as a human being who lives in this country, in the United States. People have to listen to each other. People have to understand where another person's coming from without treading upon their opinion, without attacking one another, and without being, quite frankly, rude, disrespectful, and very, very woke or too far left or right. You are a human being. You don't have to be as politically, spiritually, or emotionally divided as you can be. Wake up and realize that everything in 20 years from now, this president will probably be dead, and the previous president will probably be dead too. It won't matter then. I'm going to be honest with you.
And
as the host of the Super Review Show, as the host of this podcast who wanted to do this in the middle of a pandemic, mind you, in September of 2020, I'm saying this generically to all of you out there who listen to us, especially in the U.S., you have the power as a human being to make this a better, more fair world. You can do it. It's not that hard. I'm not using this as my soapbox or my platform or my channel to say, oh, you vote this way. No. I'm saying as a human being on this earth, as a person who believes a certain way, regardless of political stature or political world, or protest songs, whatever. I'm saying this as a human being live on the internet. Be a decent person. Don't be mean, and please be good to each other in the world that we live in.
And make a difference. Make a difference in your community.
Yeah, and it's not that hard.
And please, at the end of the day, listen, we usually don't go into stuff like this. Just be a good person. That's all we ask. Just don't. And I've heard people unfriending people because of
no.
Don't do that.
No, you're creating more division than unity. It's about.
Well, listen, if that person is nasty and toxic, then that's a whole different story.
Yes, that's a different story.
If that person is nasty and toxic, then that's a whole different story.
In all seriousness, though,
I think what we need to know is the spirit of a lot of these songs. It's not just protest. It's about love. It's about unity.
And circling back to,
and it's about, wanting a better world. And I think that's what the message of a lot of these songs are. We want a better world. And only you can do that. And, I don't care how you voted this past election. I don't care.
Neither do I.
But at the end of the day, just be a good person. And it's not a protest song, but quoting the Beatles, all you need
is love.
All you need is love. Okay, we've been going for 2 hours. We're such smart, interesting human beings.
Yeah, Bill and I had so we jumped on with Ali, Justin, and Vinny were here too.
And they all abandoned us.
They all abandoned us about halfway through and about an hour in. We want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. Sound off in the. Feel free to reach us on our Super Review Show Instagram and Facebook feed, simply at the Super Review Show. But I think this was therapy for both of us. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm glad we got to get
I'm glad we were able to pick a topic that we could express our feelings
without expressing too much of them,
without being a political yes or no kind of. It's just generic how things were. I think we did a good job, my friend.
I think we did a very good job today. All right, so hopefully next week we'll be doing a lighter topic.
Yeah, well, next week's gonna be a much bigger, better, lighter subject matter than NWA or Public Enemy. Don't worry, we'll get there. Bill, you have a sports thing as well.
Sports Insanity podcast on the Sports Insanity Network. Check us out on all platforms. Conference championship is this weekend, folks.
Yes, go Bills.
Go Bills. Actually, I'm gonna say this: go anyone but Philly.
Go anyone but Philly. I like that.
Go anyone but Philly. As a Giants fan, I do not want to see the Eagles win.
Yeah, so no worries at all. But but listen, guys, for all of us here at the Super Review Show, please don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms as well. Simply at the Super Review Show and Sports Center Network. They do a fantastic job over there. Please check them out as well. But thanks so much for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. But for all of us here at the Super Review Shows, mixed bag. Stay safe.
Take care.
And
be awesome.